Competitive Pokemon really stands out in the world of turn-based strategy games because of its emphasis on psychological warfare and mind games. Because turns are taken simultaneously rather than sequentially, and you are able to hide and conceal information, players can predict their opponent's moves and punish them, or bluff that they have an option that in fact they don't. Every successful competitive Pokemon player needs to have some awareness of this element of psychological warfare. Even those who play very by the book and safe have to call out their opponent's habits or make a prediction here and there. Pokemon is a bit like chess mixed with poker. In that sense. It's a game of resource management and planning, but also understanding your opponent and trying to figure out what they want to do at every moment of the game. BluesEnergy is an example of a Gen 3OU player known for mind games. He often uses very aggressive teams that greatly reward correct prediction. BluesEnergy famously peaked the ladder with the highest ELO rating ever at the time, using a Slaking team. It's a Pokemon that most consider quite inconsistent. Slaking relies heavily on predictions, which made it very effective in the hands of Blues, who thrives leaning into that style of gameplay. Metachan is another Pokemon that can cause serious damage when used by such a player. In my invitational tournament, the Gym Invitational, BluesEnergy was paired up against Leo, a player who I think is much more about fundamentals and solid gameplay, but who I have also noticed is very good at handling flashy and aggressive players like Blues. If someone is turning the game into more of a mind game and prediction heavy battle, Leo can keep up with it. This made for what I think was the most exciting pairing of this entire tournament so far. And Game 2 of this set had some of the craziest back and forth mind games I have ever seen. Let's analyze this game and the thought behind all of these moves. Check out Revival Tournaments on YouTube if you want to see the full set, and other great sets from the tournament so far. So this is Game 2 of the set between Leo versus BluesEnergy, and Leo is up a game right now. And he won the last game off a pretty decisive read that ended things on the spot, sniping BluesEnergy's Salamence with a surprise Ice Beam, in a situation where Swampert was expected to switch out. So he's in his head already, and he's got the mental advantage at this point. And he forces out the Tyranitar here in the lead matchup with a Metagross lead. And look what he does in the first turn, doubles to Charizard, calling out this Skarmory switch in. He substitutes now. In comes a Moltres, and Moltres looks pretty good here. It can roar out the Charizard, resists fire and grass, the common coverage. But Charizard has Toxic, which totally cripples this Moltres. Now Moltres is in a clock, it's going to slowly fall to this poison. So Sub-Toxic, not a common set on Charizard. That's a good example of a surprise option and concealing of information getting huge value. Charizard's in again here, and it uses Focus Punch, which is a really interesting mid-ground play, because Blues is thinking that this is going to sub again, and that the Moltres might switch out here rather than take the Toxic Poison, so maybe he subs with this Charizard to get a safety net to use Focus Punch against an incoming Tyranitar, or potentially a Blissey in the back if BluesEnergy has it. But he goes for the Focus Punch, which is a really smart move. It covers the roar, getting a little bit of chip in, not much. It also covers potential switch outs to checks for Charizard while preserving its health a little bit. So there's a nice little risk-reward assessment going on with that move that looked a bit weird, but it was actually a great play. Now Salamence is in, this Moltres is getting damn low. And back to Suicune here. Turns out to be Hidden Power Ice Moltres, failing to get its surprise value. Usually Moltres has Hidden Power Grass, so BluesEnergy trying to do a bait, failing, thudding completely. And then a Will-O-Wisp on the way out on your last turn, and he goes back to the Charizard, soaking it. Immune to burn. So Leo is winning every mind game right now, absolutely in BluesEnergy's head. Goes for the Toxic in the face of a Tyranitar that could have just Rock Slided here and KO'd this Charizard. He stays in, what a bold stay in, calling out that this is a huge call out on BluesEnergy's whole playstyle. BluesEnergy is known for these kinds of predicting the Metagross coming in here. So Leo is showing that he has a deep understanding of his opponent right now and what he tends to do. He's prepared very well with the Sub-Toxic Charizard that has gotten basically a KO in this Moltres through careful maneuvering and calling out every possible thing this Moltres was doing. But then BluesEnergy turns the tables on it a little bit. And he goes for the Earthquake a second time, which catches Leo this time. Catches the Metagross, 61%. Devastating. Metagross is very low. Now, and there could be an arrow in the back for all Leo knows, so he's in trouble. Then he Rock Slides the Charizard coming back in. And all of a sudden, all that progress, all those incredible turns of gaming, mind games and predictions erased in a couple turns. BluesEnergy flips the switch. He was in the back, he was in the corner, one game down, losing every interaction. But he didn't let it get to his head. And he remained calm and he said, all right, this is the game we're playing. I'm going to strike back right now. I'm going to get 2 consecutive predictions, and that's all I need to be back in this game. But BluesEnergy has evened out this situation that looked so dire. And Charizard is gone, Metagross is chipped. BluesEnergy could easily set up for a win condition here. Celebi loves the fact that Charizard just got sniped. Celebi hates Charizard. Now it can freely leech seed. Leo reveals a Regice, which is a little bit bad for BluesEnergy. That's a good check. And he doubles back to Suicune, more mind games happening. Bringing Suicune in on the Tyranitar, trying to get some momentum. Forcing out Tyranitar, obviously. Back to Metagross now. Trying to chip heal up the Metagross by safely getting it in there. You can earn some leftovers healing. And right there, BluesEnergy actually made a great call out on the Metagross that was trying to explode against the Celebi. Losing 67% on a Skarmory is way better than losing your whole Celebi, which obviously checks this Suicune. So very important the Blues got that interaction right too, preserving Celebi, and only a scratch on Skarmory. Skarmory can easily heal this back. What has BluesEnergy got in store for us here? Goes to Tyranitar, get some use out of it while you can. Unfortunate crit Thunderbolt, but not too impactful. How are we going to use this Tyranitar? A surprise Toxic. And now Claydol, who was a rapid spinner, wants to get rid of Spikes potentially. Can't even do its job. Tyranitar goes down on this turn thanks to the poison, but going out with a respectable 33% chip on this Suicune. And in comes Jirachi. And now it's very clear that BluesEnergy this whole time was setting up for this very Jirachi win condition. This is a sub-Carmine Jirachi with Thunder and Ice Punch. And look at Leo's team. Suicune drops to Thunder. Regice gets set up on with the sub-Carmine. It can't touch this Jirachi. And Claydol is Toxic, and obviously it's going to fall to 2 Ice Punches. So look at the 2 Pokemon eliminated on Leo's side. It's Metagross and Charizard, 2 Pokemon that could withstand this. Metagross could have survived an Ice Punch, threatened Earthquake against Jirachi. Jirachi can't quite sweep. Charizard threatens big fire-type damage, can maybe win the speed tie. This is revealed later to be a very speedy Jirachi, which Leo wouldn't necessarily know. Jirachi can have many different EV spreads on this kind of set. BluesEnergy opting for a faster one, which does come into play against this Salamence. Jirachi faster than Salamence. But Charizard could have speed tied with the Jirachi if it was still alive, maybe landed a Fire Blast and stopped this win condition, but BluesEnergy paved the way. Despite looking like he was losing, he had a plan from the beginning, and with a couple reads, backed into a corner, clawing this one back, making the way, making the path. What happened next, though? Who would win this set? They're even now 1-1. You'll have to check that out on Revival Tournaments and watch the set for yourself, because it was a great final game. It was almost as exciting as this one, but this so far was my favorite game from my whole tournament and my favorite Gen 3 game I've seen in a while. I've never seen these players just calling each other out to such an extent, and after such devastation, I have never seen a player come back from a disadvantage like BluesEnergy managed in this battle, and I commend him for it. But was it enough to win the set? Who knows? Check it out for yourself, and thank you for watching.